you can come up and you can put your hand in the penny jar. And I was the first guy on stage, and I told this, stupid joke, but it was cute for a 6-year-old or 7-year-old to tell. And I put my hand in a penny jar, but I got laughs. I mean, everybody was laughing, and I went, whoa, that was a great feeling. I want to do this. So, from that point on, I was trying to figure out how I can get on the radio, how I can get on television, how I can be in entertainment in some form or fashion. And I started doing magic when I was about 10, 11 years old, and started doing magic shows for birthday parties, and I just kept talking my way onto. There were back in the day in the early '60s, there were a million kid shows on TV, so I started doing magic on kid shows, and then I was a disc jockey on weekends when I was 15 years old, and I was just this real aggressive kid who knew that I wasn't going to stay in Indiana, I was going to be in New York, or I was going to be in LA, but it's all I ever wanted to do, and I'm pretty fortunate to be able to kind of live the dream.
Oh, that's really nice. So did you grow up watching any game shows like Family?
I grew up watching every game show. I mean, Price is Right was one. Truth or Consequences was one. The first show I ever got a job on when I moved to LA in 1973 was working on Truth or Consequences with Bob Barker the last year he had hosted it. But, I loved Password, and back when I was growing up, NBC, CBS, ABC all had 4 or 5 game shows on every day, and I would just switch back and forth to all of them. And so, my goal at the time was to be a game show host back even when I was, 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, that's really nice. So let's talk about Double Dare. Now, is it true you were only 34 when you did that show?
Yep, started when I was 34. Yep, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Now, I really thought you were way younger than that. Must have been.
Everybody did. Everybody thought I was like 22, 23. I looked much younger at the time, and they kept it secret that I was married and that I had kids. They wanted the kids to think I was like, an older brother or maybe an uncle or something,
Oh, wow. So let's talk about, that must have been a blast doing that show.
I had the best time ever. It was amazing.
Okay, so did you feel comfortable around kids? Did you like being around all the kids and getting around all the slime and stuff and all the
It never bothered me. The whole thing was I wanted to be an adult host, so I think part of the reason Double Dare worked was I approached it as a grown-up game show, treated the kids like adults. I never talked down to them. I never treated them like kids, and I think they respected me for that, and I think it's part of the reason that show worked.
Yeah, it did. It definitely was one of the reasons that put Nickelodeon on the map.
No question.
Yes. So you filmed Double Dare in Philadelphia, correct?
We started in Philly, started in September of 1986.
Yeah.
We're here for a couple of years, then moved to New York for the first Super Sloppies, then moved back to Philadelphia, and then we moved down to Orlando around 1990. We shot from 90 to 94 down at the Nick Studios down there. We were the first show to shoot down there. They built us a studio, and they were still building the theme park. In fact, we were there a full year ahead of when the theme park actually even got completed.
Yes, before Universal Studios Florida first launched, correct?
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about now Nick Studios, the Orlando area. So what was different about the Orlando area? What was one of the good things about living and working there?
I can't tell you one good thing about living there and working there, other than the fact that at the time Disney owned the whole area. Universal was going to try and give them a run for their money. Nickelodeon was the hot thing on the block, and they had hoped that we were going to, help launch their network. I was there for the ribbon cutting. I was there with Steven Spielberg and everybody in between, and it was a tumultuous day because too many people, the rides kept breaking down. It was kind of an ugly situation. And we were, everybody was excited by the fact that Nick Studios were there. There were many people, at the time, Jerry Laybourne, who was running Nickelodeon, thought it would be a great move. There were many who didn't think so. I mean, it worked because it was a mecca for children at the time, but it didn't last that long. They shut it down because Herb Scannell, who became president after Jerry, just hated going down to Florida and didn't want anything to do with the place and shut the place down. I think it was a big mistake. I think they should have kept the place open. But it was a nightmare being down there. I'm not a theme park guy. I never wanted to be an attraction at a theme park, and so and I'm not in love with the city of Orlando. So it was not fun, and I would be gone, 4, 6, 8 weeks at a time down there, living in a hotel, and my family would be spending time with me from time to time. But I never really enjoyed it down there, quite honestly.
Oh wow, that's surprising. So you didn't like getting on all the rides at Universal at all? I'm just,
Yeah, I could care less about that stuff. After you go on Back to the Future for the 19th time, there's really nothing else to do. And it was a fun family vacation in the summertime, but the heat was unbearable. The humidity was ridiculous. And quite honestly, on my days off, I would drive to Tampa to get the hell out of there. And you got to keep in mind at the time, Nick was so big and our show was massive. I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, I would be mobbed wherever I'd go. So for me to go out and have dinner and be attacked by tons of people wanting pictures and autographs night after night after night, so I kind of hibernated and stayed in my hotel, which was in a gated area, and ate in the gated hotel dining room. And I would literally drive a back road back and forth. I stayed at a place called the Villas of Grand Cypress, and I would drive a back road from the villas back to the back areas of Nickelodeon and back and forth, and I would just kind of be a hermit after a while because I had no interest in just kind of interacting. It was a tourist spot, and quite honestly, I'm a shy guy, and I don't really need the pats on the back, and don't really care if anybody recognizes me, and don't care if somebody wants my autograph. I mean, if somebody wants it, I'll give it to them, but I never got in the industry for that reason. So after a while, you just kind of wanted to be off on your own and not be bothered.
yeah. So you were more of a Tampa, Miami guy. Is that correct?
Yeah, I like big cities where there's museums. Like there's no museums, and I used to drive to Tampa to have a good time.
Yeah.
So Orlando is a great destination for families. It's just not for weeks and weeks at a time.
Yes, I can understand that.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Yeah, but Nick Studios, I did really think it was a special place for kids and adults to interact with actors and TV shows, because really Orlando was very popular. It was deemed as the Hollywood East at the time.
That's what they tried to make it, and it never became that. That's the hope was they were going to compete with Los Angeles, but because it was a right-to-work state, they didn't have to deal with unions, but it never turned out to be that.
Yeah, it didn't last that long.
No, not at all.
But do you remember any other shows being filmed at the time?
Oh, everything was there. Clarissa Explains It All, and Guts was done there. I mean, yeah, I saw all that stuff being done. Every show that was happening was in either our studio, or Legends was done right next to us. They were all done, so we shared the facilities. There were two main stages, and I was down there with all that stuff.
Yeah. Do you remember All That, the show?
All that I do, and there was one show that I loved. It was a variety show. I can't think of the name of it. Roundhouse. One of the best shows that Nickelodeon ever produced. Never did any big numbers, but it was the most creative, and I thought one of the most fun shows that they ever produced.
Yeah, they did like one season down at Nick Studios, and then they moved to Hollywood, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was really a good show.
Yeah,
ahead of its time, I think. I thought it was probably a little too smart for Nickelodeon.
Yeah, there's rumors that Nickelodeon wasn't too fond of it, but I'm not going to get into that. But did you ever? This is going to sound silly, but did you ever interact with other game show hosts to be like, listen, I'm the best game show host. I can beat you. My show's the best game show.
No, I was never competitive. I mean, Mike O'Malley and I to this day are still really good friends. And what's his face? I can't think of his name. Phil, man, another nice kid. I mean, I knew them all. I could have been all their fathers. I mean, they were all kids. They were in their 20s, and I was in my late 30s. And they were all very, very nice people and did a great job. Obviously, O'Malley's had a great career. Some people haven't, but Kirk Fogg and all those guys. Yeah, I knew all those guys, and we were all very friendly and all got along well, and it wasn't a matter of who was best. I mean, our show was, I think, ours and Guts were probably the two most popular shows, but everybody did well, and it was kind of a team effort, one for all and all for one,
Yeah. Speaking of Fillmore, there's a video that I'm going to post to you after the interview is over where he also talks about Nick Studios, and he mentioned you, so I'll post it right after this is over.
I'd love to see that.
Okay.
That'd be great.
You did Family Double Dare for 4 years, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And you also hosted What Would You Do there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, honestly, did you like What Would You Do? Because it was kind of a weird but entertaining show.
I hated that show. I never understood the show. It was a pain in the ass. I really didn't care for that program. I didn't know what the hell we were trying to do there. And the whole thing with all the pies, with the pie slide and the pie pot and all that stuff. And it got to be redundant to me. We did about 90 episodes, something like that. We did 2 seasons or more, maybe, something like that. But I never understood it, quite honestly. It did really well, and there's a whole generation of kids who know me for that, even more than Double Dare. Mm-hmm. But I was never a huge fan of that program.
Yeah, so you were more of a Double Dare guy.
Oh, no question about it. That was the show that put Nick on the map, put me on the map, and that was much more fun.
Okay. Now, I told you earlier I got slimed, but I don't remember. Describe the feeling of getting slimed to crack us, my memory, and everyone else who hasn't gotten slimed.
Well, generally it was made out of primarily of applesauce, vanilla pudding, oatmeal, green food coloring, and generally it was cold and thick. So when it hit you, you knew it. And the good thing about it was it actually smelled good because vanilla pudding always smells good. Yeah. And we could make it thinner or thicker depending on how much applesauce and other things we could put in it. Sometimes we'd use the same slime for 3 or 4 days, and it got to be a little ripe after a while. But there were kids who thrived on it. I had it done to me numerous times. It was fun the first time, and then the 700th time, and not as much.
Yeah, I could totally agree with that. But it was still fun either way, right?
Oh, yeah. It was, you know what it did? The best part about Nick Studios was it brought moms and dads and kids together, and that was definitely the best part of it, Yes, definitely. It was a way for the Orlando to see what filming was produced like, and I think they should bring it back at least just to experience, especially for kids today, I agree.
Yes, but that's what this project is all about, just assuming that Nickelodeon Universe can come back together. I mean, I'm sure there's opinions and whatnot about it never coming back, but you can at least try, though.
Oh, yeah. But as long as the lady who's in charge with Nickelodeon is there, that'll never happen.
Oh, yeah, I've heard bad things about her. I don't think I want to get into it, though.
No, believe me, you don't.
Yeah. But, let's see. You left. Now, after Double Dare was over and What Would You Do was over, did you immediately leave Orlando? Because I'm assuming you hated it.
Well, I quit. I never lived down there, first of all. I would go down there and stay in the hotel, whatever. And I quit Double Dare, but we had been done. We were done shooting. We were just out on the road. We did 40 personal appearances a year for 8 years, and so I was always touring. And I got fed up with it, and I wanted to do more grown-up television. So I left to do a talk show on Lifetime called Biggers and Summers. First, a thing called Our Home, then a show called Biggers and Summers. And then I went to do show on the History Channel, and then I ended up over at Food Network. So
how's that? The Food Network? It's like kind of like a Double Dare reunion with food again.
Yeah, I've been at Food Network since '99, and I've really enjoyed that experience. It's been probably the best job I've ever had.
Yeah, so you're currently doing Restaurant Impossible, is that
correct? I'm the exec producer of that show.
All right. How much fun is that?
Oh, it's great. We just got picked up for 26 more. We shot one the other night. We shoot about 3 a month, and we're on the road constantly, but it's fun. We're #1 show on Food Network, so we're having a good time. All
right. Oh, I almost forgot. You were a creative consultant for Double Dare 2000. Now, what was different for that? Because that show must have gone.
I tell you what was different. There were 17 people who thought they knew what they were talking about. Nobody listened to me, and the show came out and looked horrible. And poor kid Jason, who is a very talented young man, had a producer who he used to talk in his ear all the time, and it was just poorly produced. They thought they were trying to reinvent the wheel, and the reality of it was if they just would have left it alone, they would have been fine. And it wasn't successful. Was that because I wasn't the host? Maybe, but I thought it was poorly produced.
Yeah, I think we all have mixed feelings about the Triple Dare challenge.
Oh, stupid. Totally stupid.
Yeah, but I actually enjoyed it despite people's opinions. I thought it wasn't as good as Double Dare, of course, but I enjoyed it. But anyways, back to the studio. What do you think was the ultimate cool thing about it?
Just that it was a mecca for families. It was a destination. Kids, at one point Disney owned the Kid World, and then Nickelodeon came in, and Nickelodeon was cooler, and it was you could go to Disney and have this pristine existence, but when you were at Nick Studios, you could, kind of make fun of your parents and get away with it and hit them in the face with a pie or get them slimed, and, there was that great camaraderie that Disney never did.
Yes, and would you like to see it reopen or no?
It's irrelevant to me. I have nothing to do with Nick anymore, any of that stuff. I mean, I think it's a great destination. My kids are 32 and 29, so, it's not a place I would hang out. But, it's probably good for this generation of kids who, are totally unaware of what we were doing down there.
Yeah, but if the lady in charge is finally fired, would you return to Nickelodeon, or have you moved on at this point?
I don't know, for the right thing. I mean, would I like doing a grown-up version of Double Dare and reuniting people who were on the show when they were kids and doing a reunion of, teams that never got to run the obstacle course and stuff like that? Yeah, I think you could do some specials. It'd be fun. Yeah, I'd still do that, but trust me, that's never happening in the current regime. Never.
Yeah, TV has changed a lot over the years. So.
Oh, yeah. That was, you think about it, it's 86. It's 26 years ago.
Yeah. But, there's currently a Double Dare live show at the Nick Hotel down there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, down in Orlando. What do you think about that?
I have no comment. They're using clips of me that they shouldn't be using, that I didn't get compensated for. They wanted me to come down and help them open the thing, but they wouldn't pay me to do it. So I don't have any good feelings about it.
Oh, that's So do you still keep in contact with any of the cast and crew from Double Dare?
Everybody. Harvey, Robin, a lot of the staff. Yeah, I'm still good friends with, ton of people who worked on that program. Mike Klinghoffer, our director, Dana Calderwood, I still stay in touch with many, many people. We're very good friends.
That's really, really cool. Unlike a lot of other TV shows. So that's really, really cool. But, yeah, I think that about sums it up. But before I let you go, could you do me one quick favor and say...
I'll try.
And say the ending spiel at the end of the Nick Studios credits, like Double Dare was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Oh.
Could you do that?
Okay. What do you want to do for a living? You're very funny. What is it that you'd like to do eventually?
I'm actually majoring in computer systems and security. That's my major.
Where?
Down here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice. That's good. All right. So you want me to say Double Dare was
filmed in front of a live studio audience at Nickelodeon Studios, Universal Studios, Florida.
If I can remember this. Double Dare was filmed in front of a live studio audience at Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida.
There you go. That's really cool. Do you ever get sick of saying that? No,
it's been a long time. I didn't know I could even remember that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think you said that for What Would You Do, I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, nice talking to you, sir. I wish you a lot of luck. Good luck with your project.
Yeah, and keep in touch. And I friend request you on Facebook, by the way.
Oh, okay. I'll look at that. I don't get on that thing that often, but I'll look for you and reciprocate. That'd be great.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, so much.
All right. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.